what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy. Brian Kelly yesterday said that LSU missed 34 tackles for 288 extra yards against Ole Miss. My boy Richie Champagne responds on Twitter saying, ESPN makes everyone go for the big hit instead of wrapping up the legs. Okay. It's an angle I had not considered. ESPN's fault.
Or.
What's an alternative potential problem here?
Or you don't dive at a quarterback's ankles when he's out in open space.
Yeah,
like
that's probably true.
Not putting your head down, and
run through the tackle,
run through the tackle, stay square, move your feet. That'd be a big one. Move your feet, don't stay in place, and just like lean over. Not even really dive. Just kind of lean over and see if you can get the tackle.
Just fall over, flail your arms.
Those things would probably help as well, because I would like to tell you that they went for the big kill shot. That I didn't see that on tape. Did you?
No. That's what I'm so no. I mean, that's the other point, right? Is that no one really lays the wood on this defense. Like, has there been one big hit defensively all year? We had Caleb Jackson trucking dude offensively. That was a big hit. There's another pretty good Caleb. There's another good Logan Diggs truck last game that didn't get as much run. I mean, who on the defense? Is there one?
Maybe Perk hitting KJ Jefferson from behind to end the first half.
Yeah, that was pretty big. Okay. So the point is, no one's really getting big hits anyway. So if they're going for them, it's not working. But let's talk about the defense, because that's obviously – and we'll get to the offense, because at the end, Kelly did acknowledge exactly what we were saying yesterday, which is this is a championship-level offense that you would like to showcase and talk about, but you can't because the defense is so bad. I got to be honest, Jake. And granted, to be fair, I always want a coach to be honest with his opinions about what's going wrong and how to fix them. And when it's this bad, I don't think there's anything that you're never going to say something in the press conference where everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's cool now, I get it, yeah. But I actually did come away pretty disheartened by the press conference yesterday. There was a constant theme of we're just too young, We're just so young. And again, not wrong. Compared to Mekhi Gardner, Joe Fouché, Jarek Bernard Converse, and everybody else from Greg Brooks and everybody else from last year, you are way younger and way less talented. But there definitely seems to be a bit of kind of throw our hands up in the air. We're just going to have to deal with what we deal with. Again, true, but it shouldn't make you feel like they're suddenly going to get it fixed. There was talk of, a constant talk of the defensive line needing to create a new line of scrimmage. Obviously seeing the same thing that we saw this game, where they were lining up a yard and a half of the ball, letting Ole Miss dictate to them, getting pushed 3 and 4 yards deep. Talked about Pete Jenkins, which we can get to. But the answer that kind of bugged the hell out of me, man. And again, all the other stuff I just mentioned can be frustrating to hear, but it is true. And if you're upset about something like the secondary being young and inexperienced and weak and everything else, that's a roster management problem, right? It's not necessarily an in-game coaching problem, though they still have to try to find some way of getting more out of these guys. But the answer that kind of made me angry was Brian Kelly was asked about by Matt, actually, is this a kind of classic burn the tape situation? And I get what they're getting at, because it's so astronomically bad. It was record-setting bad. And when I heard the question, though, my immediate reaction was, hell no, this is not a burn the tape game. Burn the tape games exist. Okay, remember the Packers-Saints game to open the season 2 years ago, where the Saints won like 38-3 in Jacksonville? Okay, the Green Bay Packers are better than that. Aaron Rodgers in the offense is better than 3 points. Burn the tape games exist when you have a performance that is the exception to the rule. Okay, you're a great defense all year, and then you give up a record amount. It's just a night where you just didn't have it. Burn the tape, flush it. We're keeping it positive. We're moving forward. If the game is a enhance, a strengthening of the rule, an emphasis of the rule, a deepening of the rule. The rule being, in this case, that the LSU defense sucks. Absolutely not. That is not a burn the tape game. That is a tape that you have to live in, that you have to be willing to fully digest, eat twice over, even when it tastes bad, and try to learn the harshest truths that you can out of. So I was shocked when in the answer, Kelly talked about how, yeah, there is the temptation to kind of just throw this out the window. But, no, at the end of the day, you do have to give it some credence, and you do have to see what it's. No. You can't be tempted to throw this out because it just exposes you. It's exposing the full depths of how bad you've really been. Like, it's a continuation of the trajectory that you've been on defensively all year long. You don't rank 130 in all this stuff because you had one bad game.
You've had 4 out of 5.
You rank 130, yes, because you've had a bad season. So get the hell out of here with that burn the tape notion.
Well, you got to live in that tape. You got to be uncomfortable with that tape. Like, it has to be uncomfortable when you're watching it. That's what you want, and you want to grow from that. If you're going to play young players, which they did at corner on Saturday, they've got to learn from that tape. They have to see themselves on that tape and realize they can't do what they did again. I mean, in man coverage, the clip that you sent us, and I was shocked by 2 guys running into each other on man coverage. Like, no, you got to learn from that. You have to watch that and say, oh, man, I can't do it that way again.
Yeah, you got to be
embarrassed. Learn
embarrassed
from that time that I went out there and did that and never do that again. And I know for me, like, we never really had one like that maybe when I was playing. But, I mean, we've had some uncomfortable tapes, games in which you didn't play your best, and you spend till like Tuesday morning on those tapes typically. Like, even Monday is like a corrections day, and you're not talking about Missouri yet. You're talking about the Ole Miss game, and really, I say Ole Miss game, but you're talking about yourself. It's a self-correction day. That's what Monday is. You start off Monday practices going over what? Corrections.
Yep.
You go out there, whatever missed assignments you had in the game, that's typically like the first 20 plays that you do. And so, this is a live in this tape, get uncomfortable in this tape until at least Tuesday, and then you move to Missouri.
Yeah, and again, it's not a bad question. I didn't hate the question. I hated the answer. I just don't understand how you could even, maybe just because it's so painful, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I would have, I think this is a game where no, the answer is you actually have to live in it, like we just talked about. So, I kind of emerge on the other side of this, Jake, and unfortunately, it just kind of feels like the defense is what it is, He reiterated that, no, look, Matt House is the leader. Matt House is doing a great job. This is not an issue of play calling, and I do agree with this. What do you say? It's not an issue of play calling. It's an issue of execution and scheme. Right, or maybe understanding the scheme, like getting players and then executing once they know where they are supposed to be. And he references when, Terrence Welch is in zone and everybody else is in man and you have a free runner wide open. That would be the scheme part of it. And the execution is like, okay, you're there, now make the play, which they've been really bad at. And so I agree with that. That's all well and good. But the problem is that's the stuff that's hard to fix midstream. Like, we keep talking about improving on tackling, Jake. How do you do that when you can't tackle?
Yeah.
You can't tackle in practice. You don't really want to tackle in practice during the season either. Like, it's just, there's no, after this press conference and after this game and after now 5 games of information, it kind of just feels like it's going to be what it's going to be. And granted, it's not going to be as bad as when you're going against an elite offensive coordinator like Lane Kiffin. Regardless what else you think about him, he is an elite OC. Jackson Dart's been playing very well this year. Because your D-line played so bad, you allowed Quinshon Judkins to come alive. Like, if Judkins is running the ball well, Ole Miss can put up points on anybody. So it won't be as bad as when you face some other offenses, but it doesn't seem like it's ever going to be good. I guess here's my question to you. How do you fix it? Like, can you fix it if you just don't know how to tackle?
I mean, at this point, like it's players that you've seen do it in the past. Like, it's not just young players. I mean, it is older veteran players that are doing things that you should never see at this level of football.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a frustrating thing. But also, like, if you got a guy that's going in there and it's like, oh, that looks right. Oh, he looks the part. Oh, man, he's flashing on tape, a la Whit Weeks. Don't take him off the field.
Yeah.
Just don't take him off the field. Right,
And he was still pretty non-committal to weeks in the press conference yesterday.
I don't care if he doesn't know.
He's a young player and learn how to play the position.
Well, he looks like he's learned it.
That's what I thought.
And it looks like he has learned it more than the people that are out there with him. And I think a lot of that, T-Bob, is because he plays with an emotion. He plays with a tempo. He plays with a sense of urgency. Okay, so if you're not going to get what you need from the veteran guys, standing in the spot, leaning on trying to get a tackle, not even diving, just leaning in one direction, okay, well, even if he's not maybe technically in the right spot, okay, you at least know you have an opportunity because he's going to find his way there eventually. But look, I don't know this scheme, like as far as what the call was, but when I watch the tape, I don't see him out of place.
I know that's what's shocking me about it as well. I thought this would be an opportunity. Like, what are they seeing on tape that's obviously causing him to be hesitant or not? Because I thought this would be an opportunity to kind of highlight and praise him.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, we need more guys who are putting out that much effort, and maybe he's making a couple mistakes, but like at least he's playing 100 miles an hour with his hair on fire. Because that's again one of the most disappointing parts about this tape. It just looks so slow. So slow. Zachary Moe says, I think way too much is made of what coaches say post games like this. Literally anything they say will be lambasted. That's probably fair. Again, there is an element of that. But still, I think there's value in kind of critiquing what is being said. Because for what it's worth, I do think that Brian Kelly's like pretty dang honest in these sorts of situations. And so when he's basically telling me that, look, it's a young secondary and – he finishes like, but we just got to get him better. We just got to improve. But, like, I don't really think it doesn't sound like there's much hope for that improvement unless the process can do something crazy in a couple of weeks that the process hasn't done over the last few months.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.